What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. You join me today in the Mazda MX5 for our first community race here on the newly rebranded blown Piston Motorsport. I am still Nick, so the content will be staying the same, just the name that has changed. And thank you very much for everyone who was involved in this. It was a great evening. We are starting out as the Hockenheim National Circuit, and at this point I realised that I'm going to blind panic because I have not actually set my wheel up to be my input device because, you know, the fun quirks of using an unsupported wheel in Forza Motorsport. So we will assign that and we get underway. We started somewhere around P8, but by the time we actually get going, we are going to be P11 in this one here. Spending the first lap, we get up to P10 with someone pitting early. I'm not sure why she had to pit, but we get a free position up there through the first bit of the race, and we managed to make up a couple of positions coming down to turn 2 here at Hockenheim. We put ourselves up the inside of Kyalami, take the apex, make sure we leave them enough room on the outside as we come through towards turn 3, and we get that move done up to P8. Coming through here, first turn of lap 3 even, we're going up the inside of Vinia to make it up to P7. So we are making progress through the early parts of the race here, making sure we get ourselves nice and stopped for the turn 3 there, and we're going to be chasing down. Says WT699, I'll be calling him Average Fuller as that is who he races under on YouTube. We go a little bit deep into the first part of the arena section, and as you can see, we just get our first spots of rain and then it becomes incredibly dark and gloomy. So we are going to be ducking in to get off of the soft tyres and onto some nice wet tyres to make sure we have plenty of grip coming through here. Most people managed to get into the pits, but we did have a couple of people who were a little bit further ahead and did have to continue on softs. Being in the pit lane, it would be wrong of me not to ask you to subscribe to the channel, give me a like and drop me a comment if you're enjoying the content, as that is tradition here on the channel. Coming out of the pits, we don't realise that we actually need to change up a gear, so we're a little bit behind on our rejoin to the track, and as you can see just how wet it is out here. We go just about round the apex here, around the hairpin even on the national circuit here at Hockenheim, and we are struggling to keep it in a straight line through the arena section. Coming to the beginning of lap 5, we are looking to chase down Average Fuller here. We make a couple of positions up from the people who weren't able to get into the pits before the rain came down, so we do make it up to P5. We've got 2 and a bit laps here just to make sure, just to try and chase down Average Fuller here for P4, and we are about 2.5 seconds off coming through the second half of the lap here, just after the hairpin before we get back into the arena section, but we are struggling a little bit in the wet. I appear to be quicker through the first few turns here, turns 1 to 4 sort of I was gaining. As you can see here through turn 2, we're down to just under 2 seconds behind Average Fuller. Coming through the hairpin again, we are now down to about 1.2, 1.3 seconds, struggling to keep in a straight line there though as we put the power back on. Through the arena section, he does pull out a little bit more of a gap. We get a little bit too throttle happy and on the throttle there, and we almost lose it a little bit. We're going through turn 1, you see just how much we catch up through here, right on the limit in what is deemed as a valid lap. Coming through here, looking to see if we can maybe move into turn 2. He puts himself defensive, we put ourselves on the outside, not really anywhere we can sort of do a lunge. He does the right thing of holding himself on the apex to protect that one. We have a car off in the outfield on the left hand side, so we're going to be making up a free position here up to P4. Crispy there getting caught out by the wet weather. We are on a bit of a run with the slipstream coming into the hairpin here, but not quite able to make a move. It's not really a corner unless you are alongside way before the braking zone that you can really get a move done, so making sure we don't have any form of silly little contacts here. We put a little bit more pressure on in the final lap here, just coming to the arena section. We get on the throttle a little bit too much, use a little bit too much curb, unsettle the rear, and we drag ourselves around here just to finish it just outside the podium in the first race with a P4. So not a bad start considering we started P8 without an actual input device. Taking P11 rather by the time we actually got going. Finishing P4 I think I am pretty happy with. So as you can see, even though I'm the one organising this race here, I am definitely not going to be the quickest driver. There are a lot of people much quicker than me in these races. A little bit of an early spoiler, we didn't actually get a single win for any of these, but we did manage to sneak a podium, so you've got that to look forward to. But as you can see, it's a good race here. We managed to we started actually P3 apparently, so we dropped the place technically from the start there, not being able to use controllers, so who knows, we might have been able to challenge for a win if we were smart and actually assigned a controller. But right, race 2 here, we've got a little bit of audio now. Apologies, there's been a bit of messing around with the recording on this. I'm not quite sure why. It wouldn't let me well, when I recorded it, it didn't have any form of in-game audio apart from when the cars weren't driving, so I'm not really sure what's going on. I've got none of my audio at all, so I need to investigate a bit further for races coming up here. But as we start off at Kyalami, we managed to make up a couple of positions off of the grid. We're going to break ourselves nice and early in line with the concrete on the right-hand side here. See if we can maybe sling it round the outside. We are once again behind average Fuller, but he's got much better run through turn 4, coming down towards Barbecue here, so we're going to slot in behind him, looking to get a good run up towards Sunset. Not really much we can do on this one. These Mazdas are great little cars for good close racing. He's not really, it takes a person in front to have a mistake really for you to get the advantage. As you can see, we get a little bit of tow coming in towards the S's here, but not enough to get alongside without potentially again causing an incident. So we back out, give him the racing line, and look to see if we can get the move done. Coming down the hill here through mine shafts, we put ourselves on the inside, get the move done way before the braking zone for the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, braking just past the 100 board. Put ourselves in the middle of the track just so we make sure we don't get a switchback, and we might get that position up to P7. Through turn 2 here, technically, we managed to get out of shape just a little bit, dropping the wheel over the curb. That sort of gets the car all out of shape. We go defensive through Barbecue, coming up the hill here and making sure that Fuller doesn't think about too much of a funny stuff coming through here. We've got Crispy rejoining from once again having an excursion. Seems to have a bit of trouble keeping the tyres on the black stuff in these early races here, so we are now chasing for P6. We have a look to see if we can have a look around the outside at the hairpin at the top of the hill. We've got a bit more audio coming through here. As I say, it's all a bit weird in terms of when it did show through in the audio, when it showed through in the recording and when it didn't, so I'm not really sure what was going on with that. It might just be a thing with my levels, but anyway, back to the important stuff, back to the racing. As you can see, we've got Mario in front of us now, and we've also got Crispy both fighting for position here. We get a much better run through the final corner. Sorry, it's Marco, not Mario. I do apologise there, mate. Yeah, so we managed to get around the outside. We get in front of him just before the breaking point of turn 1. We leave space in the apex because I can't see exactly where it is. We run a little bit wide over the curb, but we managed to keep it there. As you can see, Crispy in front getting a little bit of a penalty there by using too much of the runoffs, going all four wheels over the curb. We get a much better run through Barbecue. We're going to see if we can maybe close the gap on here, but even with the tow, there's not really much on here. We get a much better run through Sunset though. We get a much better chase down here into the left-hander. We're still not quite far enough alongside to put in the move. He does get all sorts of out of shape there, a little bit too much, asking a little bit too much from the rear tyres here. He's getting all racy here with Shiva in front coming into the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. He gets that move stuck. It makes Shiva a bit slower coming out of the corner, so we've managed to close the gap right up for this one as well. Coming through Cheetah, we can see we take a little bit too much curb there. We put on the inside of our left-hand tyres on the curb. That throws us off to the left-hand side for the exit, which compromises our run a little bit. We just focus on getting a good run out of the corner here. Shiva goes a bit too wide. I think he manages to keep that without any further penalty though, and we are just looking to hang with these two here as we start scrapping. Shiva gets a little bit slidey coming out of turn 1, well, turn 2 technically on this track, and we managed to close up on that one. He gets a much better run through Barbecue though. You can see you get pretty much all of the curb there and on the entrance and the exit, keeping it without a penalty, and we are just looking to see if we can maybe capitalise on these two in front if they do keep slowing each other down. Just to prove how close we are here, we are positions 1 to 6 all coming through. That is P1 going through the front of the S's there, so we've got a group of 3 fighting for podium, and we've got this group behind here as well. So we've got Crispy getting back past Shiva coming through the S's here. That puts him on the inside. We put ourselves on the outside here, breaking in line with the red and white curbs on the right hand side, looking to see if we can maybe sling around the outside, keep him in close, but he manages to just carry a bit more momentum through on the apex than I was hoping for, which means he holds that position coming through to the end of lap 4. Looking again to get a good run out of the final corner. We look to be closing it down as we race down past the line here, but as we get down towards turn 1, you see he has got probably a bit longer gearing than I have, managing to hold that position. We brake nice and early, getting a nice cutback. He goes very deep through turn 1, uses all of the off track as well. No additional penalty from what I remember seeing during the race, so still with just a 0.2 second penalty there as well. He gets even more of the curb through Barbecue there, but again still managing to hold that without any form of penalty by the looks of it. We're coming down the bottom of the hill through the right hander, using all of the curb on the inside. We get on the throttle, we get a little bit too greedy, we just put our wheels on the outside of the track, and we are the beneficiary of a 0.6 per second penalty, and you see that completely threw me off, and we mess up Cheetah completely, dropping back by almost half a second to Shiva in front. So as we start the last lap, we've got all 6 of us within 2 seconds of each other, so it really is anyone's chance here. We've got lots of people with some small penalties as well. We've had a lot of name changes. See, Crispy's all the way up there now, fighting for P2. Crispy has a little bit of contact in front. It's him all out of shape that gives us the outside for Sunset here. He manages to hold the outside, swings it round there. I had to go a bit slow because of my tighter line in. He manages to keep the momentum, gets a little bit out of shape coming to the S's, so that gives me a little bit of a run. We use a little bit of toe, put ourselves up on the left hand side. We managed to get in front just for the S's, a little bit of door banging, but nothing really at all in that. So we are now in front, but we need to make sure we get a 0.4 of a second gap, because otherwise we are not going to be getting this P5. As you can see, he's got a 0.2 of a second, we've got a 0.6 of a second, so we need to increase that gap there to make sure we can hold on to this position. We are currently right around the point where we may get it working. We're going to look and see if we can get a good run out of the hairpin at the top of the hill, which we do. We're coming into the hairpin at the bottom of the hill now. Managed to get a much better, tighter run through here, looking to get on the throttle nice and early. We're at 0.3 of a second, chasing through Cheetah. We're still around 0.2, 0.3 of a second, so it's going to come out to the drive from the final corner, braking just past the 50, a little bit of a lock up, but we carry as much momentum through there, get on the throttle nice and early, open the steering up, and we managed to just about extend it to a 0.6 of a second advantage. So we are going to be keeping P5. So we've got P4 and a P5, but as you can see, everyone there was finishing within, but the first 6 of us were finishing within about 5 seconds of each other, maybe not even that. It was a fantastic race for this one, really good quality racing by everyone involved. Crispy managed to get in there as P3, we've got Vanilla at P2, and then we've got last side here in P1. So congratulations to those guys, but it really could have been anyone's race here. There was so many changes of position in that final lap, and as you can see, the winning time at 12:48, and then we've got P6 crossing line at 12:51. So everyone was in about 4 seconds of each other at the end of that race. So that was a really, really good race here. So we are now on Mid-Ohio. We are going to be starting this one from the back of the grid, P11. We don't get a particularly great start. We go past the Spickle on the line here, who unfortunately got a slightly worse start than we did. Now this is quite an interesting race because the pre-event info had this as a wet race. As you can see, we are starting on wet tyres, but this is definitely dry. So this was a very big debate at the beginning of this race, as I was going to go on softs, but then someone said that no, this is a wet race. I'm like, well, it looks pretty dry. And you may have caught at the beginning of this race, we're going, no, this definitely looks pretty dry here. So a lot of us are on wets looking at that pre-race information, but it's looking very dry. You can see Crispy at the front is starting to pull away a little bit, but we can see we've managed to make up from P11 to P9, where we managed to get P8 on the chase down here towards the right-hander. We're on the inside of Vanilla. We're just going to be keeping it just around there, making sure we leave gap on the inside, as he is still there on my left-hand side, just looking to make sure we are keeping space, keeping it clean. Breaking into the left-hander, we get caught out of position a little bit here from Kilson and people squabbling in front. We are on the right-hand side. That is not the best place to be. As you can see, Vanilla sneaks up the inside, so we drop down to P9. We're still on the inside of Kilson for the right-hander here, so we managed to get the position sorted just in time for the run down towards the last couple of corners. So we are now up to P7. As you can see, we're looking to see if we can carry it through the left-hander. We miss the apex a little bit on this one, compromises our run through. We keep it tight just to make sure Kilson doesn't have any form of way of cutting up the inside, and we do hold on to P7. Coming into turn 2, we're looking right on the back of Vineyard here. We're looking to see if we can get on the throttle nice and early. We get a little bit of a slide on the way out here. These whites aren't burning their way through the tread as much as we all thought they were going to, considering it's a very dry race. Vineyard missing his braking point massively there and slides off in the grass. I almost follow him off, but that puts us up to P6. Coming through turn 1 at the beginning of lap 3, we miss our braking point massively. I've been struggling with that corner pretty much all race, and it's just don't know what it was. I could just never get the car turned in at the right time, and as you can see, we're still struggling with the wets here, with not having a great amount of grip coming through the hairpin. Gives Shiva a run down at the outside, coming down towards the right hander here. Not really going to contest it because he was a bit quicker than me at this point in the race, so we just put ourselves on the inside. He runs himself around the outside, and we keep ourselves nice and tight to make sure we run nice and cleanly together. And it's at this point here, at the end of lap 3, the rain finally comes, so we can start to see it coming down. As you can see, by the end of the lap, we've got a lot of water on the track here, and we've got a couple of people, I think, in the pit here. We've got last side behind us just coming out of the pit now, so I think they may have started on softs as they pitted let's say in lap 3, so it looks to be, though. There were a few people who did start on softs, but we're not gonna, again, really going to be contesting this one because last side is a lot quicker than me, especially at the moment. Mid-Ohio is not one of my fortes when it comes to track knowledge. He takes a different line to me. He goes deep, then cuts back. It catches me out a little bit, and we managed to pull out a little bit, just so it's only a little bit of door-to-door banging, but nothing major. So coming through lap 6, we are managing to gain on the back of the pack here. We are still relatively close together as well. I'm in P6 and we are only 6 seconds behind Vanilla in P1. As we close off lap 6, we get a little bit out of shape coming through the final corner, just looking to try and stay with people. We're about a second off the pack in front. There's a gap, then there's the leading pair. So Shiva's got a 0.3 of a second penalty, so we're looking to see if we can hold close to him. He gets a little bit out of shape through the hairpin, gives us a run coming down in towards the right hander here, but not enough to be able to get alongside. We carry a little bit more speed through the corner here, just making sure we keep it on track with the weather as it is, and not quite quick enough to be able to really contest for anything. So we are dropping back from P1, about 7 seconds now towards Vanilla in P1, and as we come out to end of the track here, we're just looking to see if we can slide it through here. Shiva gets all out of shape coming through the final corner. We try and divert off the left hand side to go around him. I think he tries to avoid me as I avoid him, and we end up in the same bit of track. We pick up a little bit of a penalty there for the knock at the end of the race, but it doesn't affect our finishing position at P6. So we've got a 4, a 5 and a 6, so we are going very much the wrong way in these races here. It's not the way I'd hope it was going to go. Last side with another podium here, we've got Crispy in P2 and Vanilla in P1, so congratulations to those guys there. It was a very difficult race with the conditions, but well done indeed. But as you can see, we were still relatively close in terms of lap time. It was about 10 seconds off the off P1 for me in P6, so still relatively close competition. So for our final race of the evening, we are now at Laguna Seca. We are starting from P2, and we have a horrific start. We managed to pretty much hit the Mazda's version of anti-stall. We've got Marco flying up the left-hand side. We are, well, once again, we have Fuller on our left-hand side, so we are sandwiched between here. I'm getting real flashbacks from public lobbies here of being in the middle of a 3-car wide situation into turn 1. However, the benefit of it being a private lobby with people who actually want to race properly is we all get through there without any form of altercations at all. So we are dropped down from P2 to P4 through lap 3. There's a little bit of grief going on here at the background, but we are through here nice and calmly ourselves, deploying a little bit of smoke screen as we come down towards the run here before the uphill section. We've got a bit more of an overspeed than the guys ahead of us. Put ourselves on the outside. We catch ourselves out a little bit, lock up a little bit, and carry a little bit too much speed through the left-hander going up the hill, so we are going to be trailing back here. Through the left-hand kink, we get our wheels all over the curb there, unfortunately, and that just unsettles the car. We slide across. I'm slamming on the brakes, but we raise lie side a little bit, but he manages to get through there without any major issues, and we drop down to P10. Now, the only thing saving us was Crispy had a massive moment at the beginning of the race, so we are still not fully out of it, but we're looking to do damage control at this point. We get past Marco, who had a controller issue coming through the corkscrew, and we are on the back of Despicable. We put ourselves up the inside, not really openly taking position. I catch him out a little bit. You hear him apologise in there. We make sure we try and avoid any form of contact. There's a little bit of grazing, but again, nothing major. Power out of it coming towards the left-hander up the hill, and we get that position done. So we are up to P8. We missed the apex completely through the left-hander because I'm bad. Looking to see if we can make any more positions up here as we go. Through the left-handed kink, we get a much better run through here than Vinia does in front, so we're going to put ourselves on the right-hand side. Looking to see if we can outbrake him coming into the entrance of corkscrew. A little bit of dab of brakes just before the crest, just to make sure you get the nose, the weight on the nose. Through the corkscrew, we've got a bit of contact with Shiva in front of us. He starts sliding off the right-hand side, and we get up to P6. So through turn 1 at the beginning of lap 3, we're right on the back of Kilson. He deploys a little bit more smoke screen as we come through the fast right-hander. We've got a bit more of an overspeed. We're going to put ourselves on the left-hand side here for this left-hander. Braking just in line with the 2 signs on the right-hand side. We're going to run the curb. Actually hit the apex for the first time so far this race, and we up to P5. So we've got a little bit of work to do. We run a little bit wide there. We use a little bit too much curb, drift a little bit wide with the tyres. We get a 1/10 of a second penalty. We have Kilson looking up the inside of us coming through the corkscrew. Brake just before the crest, leave him the space on the apex here just in case he's alongside. To cut back across, we get a little bit of an off track, but thankfully no penalty. I was expecting probably another half-second penalty there, to be honest, based on what normally happens, but we managed to hold on to P5. So here we are at the beginning of lap 6 coming through turn 1. We are once again behind average Fuller, so we always seem to be inhabiting very similar parts of the track in this one here. We come through the left-hander. He just starts deploying smoke screen on me once again. We get a much better run up the hill. I'm looking to see if we can do something around the kink here. Not quite got the speed to send it up into the fast left-hander here, but we managed to get a bit more of an apex speed, and looking to see if we can get the run up the hill. We pick up a little bit of toe as we come up. We put ourselves on the left, declaring our position nice and early. We put ourselves on the left-hand side, braking before the crest. He is just ahead of us. I brake and lock up a little bit. That slides into him. I was intending to give him the apex there because I was not alongside. He, even though my argument is saying, no, carry on, you're fine, he gives me the position there. So thank you very much for that, but it really wasn't warranted. It was not a great move by my part. As we come through here on the final lap, we can see Villain Milkshake, unfortunately, off in the barrier there as he has some form of incident. We did also lose Marco at the beginning of this race as well due to a disconnect. So we will finish our final race here with our podium at P3. So here we go. Not an evening waste. Well, not even, definitely wasn't evening wasted, but we managed to get a podium here with a third place at the end of this race here. So not bad at all. Fantastic race. It was great fun. Thank you very much for everyone who joined here. Last time, once again, getting on the podium here, having a fantastic evening on these races here. He's a very, very quick guy indeed. But yeah, just want to say thank you for everyone who attended. It was fantastic racing. Sentiment from everyone that we were going to be doing it again, and it is something I'm planning on doing. I have some ideas for a few cars. If there's anything particularly you want to race, do leave me a comment. Let me know what you think would be fun, and I can have a look to see if we can get something working. But yes, the main sentiment of this is thank you for everyone who did participate, and keep an eye out for more races in the future. I will be giving you a bit more of an advance notice next time, I promise. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, drop me a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.